Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unsung Podcast. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, someone I've known almost 4 years. My little town here, Kendis. Welcome to my show.
Hi, how's it going, Dave?
It's going amazing. Kendis and I crossed paths at a gym that she used to work at here in town, and now she has her own gym, making big things happen. And yeah, let's tell everyone a little bit about you.
Um, Hello. I am Kendis. I am the owner of Real Strength Gym in Claresholm, um, which I opened. Gosh, it's been 18 months. 18 months ago we opened, so that's exciting. I have lived in Claresholm for 6 years. I love our community. I have an awesome partner, two awesome stepkids, five dogs, and that's pretty much it. The gym and home, and I couldn't ask for more. Um, but it took it. I mean, it took a bit to get here. So, yeah. But Claresholm's great, and I'm fortunate to know people like you, and we have a really great community and a supportive community if you can find it. So, yeah.
Now, you and I have a lot in common, which I didn't know about when I first met you. But
No.
you've when people go into a gym and they see someone that looks incredibly in shape, not everyone realizes that everybody started somewhere.
Yeah.
And you've lost, how much weight have you lost overall?
90. Well, I lost initially 90 pounds, and then I gained. I'll go into more detail. Gained 60 pounds back at one point, and then lost that again. So now I'm kind of sitting in a comfortable place. But yeah, initially it was a big 90-pound weight loss, which I'm 5'1", so that's it looks different on when you're shorter too. So um, I grew up in sports, which was awesome. I could not have asked for a better childhood. 3 or 4 sport athlete, year-round athlete, um, and I mean it's taught me incredible work ethic. But when I left sport, I was in my early 20s, and I was playing hockey full time in a development program for the national team, and my passions changed, and I didn't love hockey anymore. So I left the sport, but there was no manual for what do you do when you lived, almost 20 years as an athlete. There's no manual, especially this was the early 2000s. So there wasn't social media, there wasn't the internet. Um, and I didn't even think about, hey, what changes when I leave sport? So I found drinking, I found food, overeating, all of the bad things that I missed out on being an athlete. I definitely, kind of my 20s to mid 30s, just lived a little hard, not very kind to my body, not certainly not respectful of my body, and got to a place where I weighed 220 pounds. I spent a lot of time on my couch being depressed. Although I am grateful for my ex-husband, he was pretty hard on me at that point, and he was a big gym guy, big bodybuilder. Um, and he kind of sparked something in me to make some changes, some positive changes. And um, then I found the gym and found a style of training that worked for me at that time. And to kind of being in an unhappy marriage, I know you kind of find things to do that take you out of yourself. And when you are just tired of going home, the gym became my safe place. And I
Mhm.
could go and work out for 3 hours and not even realize 3 hours had gone by. Was it overtraining? Yes. But it also really helped my mental health. So I just set up a 7-day rotation. I looked into the style of training that I liked, which was more of a bodybuilding style of training. And I went from there. I just built up my own rotation. I watched a lot of people. At that point, we did have the internet. So there was some really cool people coming out with really good content on Facebook. It was just the beginning of Instagram then. But I had really great influences like Dana Lynn Bailey for bodybuilding, who is just such a positive force for females in the world of bodybuilding. And the weight started to come off and the muscles started to come in, and it was pretty cool. And um, then I got divorced, um, and I ended up in dating a terrible human being. It's interesting. I read a lot about it now. My ex-husband was quite a narcissist, quite manipulative. And what the process that happens when you're with that person, if you don't know it's happening, is really defeating. And you lose a sense of self because that's what they take from you. So immediately after, I kind of found someone with the same personality type, not realizing that, I'd been living in a situation that was really negative mentally and emotionally, sometimes physically. And I just did the exact same thing again because that was my normal for 9 years. So that one I got out of after 9 months, but I moved cities. I moved back to where I grew up. I went from being able to work out 3 hours a day to now I have a couple of jobs. I have to support myself. I had dogs. I didn't have kids. I chose to have dogs. So my dogs have always been with me. So then kind of went through some changes. And then when I got back to Calgary, I got to spend some time healing. So still working out, still staying in the gym, still healing. Worked for Sport Check, which was awesome. I used to help manage Sport Checks. I got to open the first ever women's Sport Check in Calgary, which was very cool to be a part of. And I coached wrestling. And then I had a pretty significant hip injury that took me out of everything. And it's interesting. There's different types of injuries. This one happened to be just multiple tears in my hip socket from hockey, wrestling, and then compounded by the gym. And then I couldn't work out anymore because walking got hard and I had to go off work. So all of the things the gym gave to me regarding my mental health, they were just kind of gone. Because I now know mental health is multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more than one coping mechanism. So my heavy reliance on one thing now I couldn't do. So then came back eating, and my doctor was very quick to prescribe antidepressants, which I willingly took without researching. And just to kind of get me through. And I had two of my dogs passed 5 months to the day apart. And it was a huge eye opener for me in that I still had no coping mechanisms. And I'm on these antidepressants, but they take away your ability to have like a spectrum of feelings from my experience. So I weaned off antidepressants, and was able to get in for hip surgery. 2 months later, was back working in a gym, living in Claresholm, and being an active participant in my mental health on more than one level, and approaching health and fitness from a different perspective. I started training when I lost all the weight, and then I kind of found my way back to personal training again as well. So it's been a really interesting journey. It's been fun. It's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trial and error, but it's been worth it, every minute.
It's funny you mentioned sometimes things about being with people like that you don't realize still affect you. I had a guest on here 5 or 6 episodes ago, and he said I find a side effect of PTSD is that you can't look people in the eye. You're always looking down a lot.
Yeah.
And from a past relationship with me and talking with that guy, it woke me up. I'm like, wow. I'm like, when I go into like a Tim Hortons or something where I'm looking down, and now I've started looking people in the eye.
Yeah.
And it came from I was with someone previously that was so jealous that if we're out to dinner and an attractive waitress came to the table, I keep my head down and I'd order staring at the menu
Yeah.
because I was afraid of getting, oh, you want to hook up with her? Why don't you get her number? And it's just now like I've started to look people in the eye again, and it's so simple, but it's so powerful.
Isn't it neat when you realize that, when people make you feel worthless and you feel worthless, and then you finally clicks that I'm however worthy I make myself or let
Yeah.
myself be, and my worth is intrinsically linked to only my sense of self. And then all of a sudden, how we carry ourselves changes, and it's really cool to see. And I'm glad that you're experiencing that. Um, Part of even how I train now, I call it home position. It's really just neutral spine, how we set our shoulders, but I talk a lot. Um, But relaying information, this is my confident position. This is my, if I have to be authoritative, if I have to be assertive, just my everyday, this is where I want to live. I keep my head up. Younger clients I have, or anyone who's insecure, I tell them, you set your shoulders down and you imagine your superhero cape goes on. And it's imaginary. You're the only one who knows you're wearing it. It can be any color you want it to be. But as long as you have it on and you're here, you can do anything.
Hmm.
And it's that piece of trying to give away what I've learned. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dave, it's been a long process to be where I am now. And after my ex and then the bad boyfriend, it was a solid 4 years before I even thought about dating or was in a place mentally to date. And then I found an awesome partner who reflects my values, and we get to support each other. And every day is about lifting each other up rather than there. I mean, there are days we're human, but for the most part, that's my job, is to make him feel the best I can every day. So it's pretty awesome.
So your first client that you ever had, can the first time, someone came to work out with you for the first time, they started to do some crazy shit that they would never saw themselves doing. Like, what's that like for you when you get to see that come back?
It is. I tell people it's innate. My job is innately selfish, in that um, someone can come in. For example, one of my clients this morning, we're working on her strength in most of her muscles, but one of her not. I'm not going to call it an issue. The thing she wants to work on is getting upstairs easier. So today we got to change the level we do step ups at, and she did it. And she constantly is like, "Are you sure?" Yes, I'm sure. Are you? I don't think I can do this. I think you're going to try doing it. Just get up there. All you have to do is take one step. And then I get to see that step. Or I get a call, a text in the evening. Hey, you know what? Your program, I did this amount. I did 32 kilometers on a bike trip today. I did this today. It's Dave, it's the coolest. It's awesome to just come spend an hour in the gym and the rest of your life gets better.
You
It's
know,
so exciting.
when I first started boxing, I had a trainer named Brianna, and she was just a lot like you, just a total badass. And I was about 6 months in. You do these boxing workouts with like 12 stations.
Yeah.
Okay, and I always thought to myself that I couldn't run because of my leg injury. I have half a muscle in my leg, if anyone out there doesn't know. But I can walk fine. But running, I always said in my head, you know what, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so there was 12 stations, and I kept delaying the last one. It was running for 2 minutes straight on a treadmill, just like a light jog.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no, no. So I kept delaying it, delaying it, delaying. I look at her, I'm like, because you have a 90-second break in between each one. I'm like, listen, I can't run. She's like, shut the fuck up. Just so blunt. She's like, I never want to hear that word out of your mouth again. It was so blunt.
Yep.
But she's like, come on, I'll come with you. I'll hold your hand. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I did it, and I ran about 90 seconds out of 2 minutes, and then did like a light sprint for the last 30 seconds. And I will never forget that day.
Right.
And I still talk to her because now, like in the summer, like I'll go out and I'll try and jog like half a kilometer and then walk a half a kilometer.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm getting there, and it's like, and I always think back to that one day when she said, "Shut the f up."
Just
But
do it.
sometimes
Just
you just need a shake and someone to believe in you. I love it.
That's it. It's just that little bit of push. We all need a push sometimes. I haven't for a long time. I used to lift really heavy as part of my training. There's a really cool link if you're training for bodybuilding with powerlifting, there's always that kind of crossover. And not that those are the only styles of training. I work in a very different world now for training. But it's funny. I was the same as everyone else in the gym, like, because my training partner was my ex-husband. He's this big guy. So mentally, I was like, I have to be the strongest person in the gym. I did get very strong. I had a 315 deadlift and a 315 squat. I actually got my deadlift to 355. I'm 5'1". Okay. I do not need to be the strongest person in the gym, but I did it. And then I have I'm shorter now, I'm sure, from squatting so heavy. And it's a lot of work. I remember getting a 3:15 PR and I went home and had like a 6-hour nap. Um, but it's that piece of like working through ego to realize, what am I doing? How can I most effectively work my muscles today? And it doesn't have to be all the weight. That being said, I have returned to, I think deadlifts are awesome. Squatting is awesome as well. We get the full spectrum, but I've been convinced to maybe compete in powerlifting for deadlift. Um, Deadlift only so far. So I pulled 250 today. Um, so the numbers are coming back up, but now it's about how can I get to where I want to be by training efficiently. So it's kind of neat to kind of come full circle. And I see different people in the gym and like, hey, we don't have to ego lift today. We can just come in, but you have to, it's just like your kids. Everyone has to walk their journey. So it's fun. We might not always like it, but it's been really great. So
Now, you said you were convinced to do that. Would Amy have had anything to do with that?
well, so Amy is amazing, and she does her kids and adult class, and the Strong Kid is awesomely inspiring, especially for anyone who wants to try something different. When you live in a rural community, it's interesting. You have a different dynamic of kids. So when we have a lot of like farm kids who are just strong, because their lives are very different. I grew up in the city. My life was entirely different from growing up on a farm. And it's actually what I refer to as ideal strength now is farm kid strong. So to have kind of an event in the summer that hopefully we can, and Amy can link intrinsically with the town of Claresholm and Fair Days. I think it's awesome. And it's a different outlet for kids, and you can do it anywhere. You can pick up anything and put it back down and make it fun. So, no, Amy is super inspiring. She is truly, truly gifted and very talented. It's actually been, I have a couple of athletes that I coach in powerlifting. Opening a gym has really allowed me to diversify different modalities. So I have a couple athletes training for powerlifting. We've gone to a few meets. My husband is going to do a meet at the beginning of May. And just our other members. So just kind of through the course of thing, like, why don't you just try one meet? I will tell you, I grew up wrestling too. It was one of my sports. I'm not pumped. They wear singlets. I'm not pumped about it. Okay, I did that. I did that as a teenage girl. I don't not need to do it as a perimenopausal woman. I'm just saying, but we'll see.
I'll have to put you in contact with my friend Adam. I had him on 4 or 5 episodes in, and he's a three-time powerlifting world champion who's defeated cancer twice.
What? See?
So he got he was diagnosed with leukemia while he was a year in the training. He said, screw you, cancer. Went on and won.
Yeah.
Won his second one, and then he got diagnosed with tongue cancer and lost 10% of his tongue.
Oh my goodness.
Kept training, went on and won another, and he's got like world records in like powerlifting, and he owns like a lot of Alberta records too.
That's awesome.
Under two, because I mean, you never know. And
right?
he's just an amazing dude. I think you guys should talk to. I'll put you in contact with him after.
I would love that. I think just like your trainer said, that whole piece of I can't, I don't let that exist. You can. It might take more than one attempt. It might not happen the first time, but there's 1,000 ways to do something. And it's getting inside your head that I can. It might take work, but I absolutely can. So I think that's incredibly inspiring. How awesome is that to just push through? So,
well, also, you don't even realize, but there's two things that you've said to me 3.5 years ago that still stick with me as well. We were having a chat, and she's like, you see that door you just opened? That's the hardest exercise you're going to do today. Just getting in the door. And then every single person that left the gym when I was there, you always said, make good choices. And then it's funny because sometimes I leave the gym and like, oh man, I'm dying for a Big Mac. And I'm like, make good choices, make good choices, make good choices.
I still say that. That's my go-to still. I'm working on getting some merchandise ordered for the gym. And I think that's going to be an important part. But it's that we're human. We are human. We're allowed to be human. But if we can keep in the back of our head just to make the choice good, I'm not saying don't have the Big Mac, just have one and then don't have one for a while.
Oh
Or
yeah, you got to treat yourself. I find every couple of weeks we'll have a you got to have a night out, and if not, because I find if you torture yourself and starve yourself, and then someone
then
says to me, like in whatever 2 years that 150 pounds I lost, but I still ate like crap, but it was a lot of less crap than I used to eat, and I didn't drink 6 nights a week, and I just drank more water. Um, I had a lady on a couple episodes ago that said when she started just trying to walk, she'd pick her 5 favorite songs,
yeah,
put them on a playlist, and every 2 weeks she'd add a song. So just
that's a great idea.
yeah, just to go a little bit further, and I said it's not Stairway to Heaven, is it? You'd be walking for like 200 miles. But
Right?
but even that little idea, like that hit me. Everyone out there wants you to start walking more. You pick your 5 songs, add a song, add a song, add a song, and don't even think about time, just how many songs you're going.
That's it. And
Yeah.
and it's songs you like. And I love that. That's a great idea. And it's just that piece of whatever inspires you
Yeah.
too. Um, that's a great idea.
Well, I mean, you read a lot. I follow a lot of runners and stuff on Instagram and Twitter, like, oh, did 52 minutes or 5 kilometers in 30 minutes a day. And it said, like, I listened to 5 songs a day, and I don't know how long I walk, but I feel pretty good.
That's it.
Just
Right.
forget about numbers, right? But some people like to track numbers, but to each their
There's
own.
and that's it. And it's I think that's why a big part of why I do this is and this the gym that uh I hopefully I keep growing it. We're in a space now where I'm like, I wish I had a little bit more space. But just cultivating a space where you can come in, train however you want to. There's a weight room side, there's a cardio kind of movement based side, however you want to train. But it's finding something that makes you want to do it again, that makes you feel good about yourself, and that it just improves your quality of life. So, walking, I think, is one of the most important things we can do. Um, One, we have to do it for this course of our life. So if we can maintain it, that's one of the best things. Um, and knowing there's different kinds of walking. So if we're walking for weight loss, we land in a different zone. If we're, walking for heart health, we land in a different zone. So it's just kind of saying what do I want? What are my goals? And then find things, or you can come and talk to me if you're in Claresholm, or find someone to kind of say this is the best course of action to meet your goals, because everyone is a little bit different. We look at age, previous injuries, what lifestyle is like. So for some people, an hour and a half in the gym is just it's impossible. So what can I do in 45 minutes that'll maximize someone's time? And it's, picking little things like walking to songs, find a podcast you like. I brought in screen technology for cardio equipment through Free Motion that has, that's it. It has, there's 18,000 videos of content. Free Motion spent X amount building their app. But if you like history, you can walk around Egypt with an archaeologist.
Hmm.
If you don't travel a lot but want to see other places, literally anywhere in the world you can think of, they have filmed, and it's with a coach. So there's someone guiding you on whatever course you take, or there's also the manual modes. But it's just trying to inspire people on as many levels as I can, I guess. So it's,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Hey, what's your thoughts of I follow Joey Swole on all social medias, and I don't know if like I used to record myself boxing in the gym just with badass videos because I was proud of myself.
Yeah.
But I never interfered with anyone. I was always back corner. But it seems lately, I don't know if it's a problem here, but maybe Calgary and bigger cities, but there's just so much recording. It's like people are not really working out. They're just looking for, clout and likes and
There's a lot of, I do my best to keep my social media time to a minimum, for my mental health. I find it's not so bad in Claresholm. We have a couple of people that like to film their workouts. I'm really mindful. Like sometimes I have to do stuff for Facebook. I'm told that I'm not very good at Facebook, so someone comes in and helps me sometimes. Um, it's not bad here in Claresholm, yet. That being said, I think there's some value in filming your workouts depending on what you're doing it for, and all the power to people. Just respect your space, respect the people that are around you. Um, Sometimes people have headphones in and they're in workout mode and they might not necessarily see your phone propped up. So it's, good and bad. I will say I do love Joey. I love what he's doing for the gym bullies. It was really important to me when I opened my own gym that it be understood that this is a community space. It is for everyone. If you have something to say to someone about or laugh at them, if you have something negative to say, you can come relay it with me. If you're worried about their form and you're going to make fun of them, I'd rather you come tell me and I can have a quick conversation about form, or just ignore it because it's none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried to create, and I think I've done a really good job of making it a really positive, supportive, like, you know what? Hey, I saw your last set. That was awesome. You know what? Next one, you got one more rep in you. You push that weight. Um, so instead of it being kind of this toxic that in the city, it can be quite toxic, and it's just a lot of personality. A lot of personalities in one space. Where here we have the benefit of being in a smaller community. We know your neighbors, or we know of the person beside you. So why wouldn't we support them? And that's what my vision for the future of fitness is we all have one life. We all have one body. Why are we not supporting each other to be better than we were, a little bit better than we were the day before? So,
See, I have two major run-ins that go back and forth in my mind with gym experiences when I first started. Um, when I first walked to a big box gym in Northeast Calgary,
yep,
I was on a treadmill for the first time. I was almost 392.
yep,
So I had these big giant rolls on the back of my neck when I was just 20 minutes in, sweating my face off.
yep.
So these two guys were behind me, and I hear kind of laughing, and I hear one of them say, that dude looks like the back of his neck looks like a pack of sausages. So I stayed away for like 6 months, but then I used it as motivation.
Yeah.
And then on the way other side of the spectrum was the first time I worked out in that boxing gym in Calgary. There's a guy, Steve Claggett, Steve the Dragon Claggett. He had 5 titles. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy stops his sparring session, comes down, takes a picture with me, puts it on his Instagram and says, "Let's get this champ."
Right.
Right. So you got two different sides of the world. It's just a matter of just being kind. And like even now, if I'm ever at a gym, haven't been in a while because I have my own setup here, but if I see someone that looks like me or I see someone struggling, I just walk up and say, "Hey man, keep going, champ." That one little word
Yep.
can stick with someone inside their head.
Yep.
But it's funny how both still come back and forth every now and then.
Yep.
But this other one weighs out, right? It's just not being a douchebag. It's
That's 100% it. It no matter your size, we're all in the same space for the same reason. Whatever it might be, a different route. Like someone likes training this way over this way, but we're all here to improve our bodies and improve our health. And the judgmental piece, I think, if you have nothing better to do than make fun of me or judge me or comment on me, I feel so bad for you because your life needs more in it than what I'm doing. Um, when I carried more muscle, so when I lost the 90 pounds, I was just this tiny little jacked human. The amount of time it took me, it's hard to carry that much muscle now for me. One, because I train so much and I maybe neglect my own training a little bit. But I would go to a big city gym and there was always someone who had to come and be right beside me because just to whether it was to ego me out or whatever it might be, all the power to you. You look amazing, but I'm going to need my personal space. So thank you. Um, and now I'm confident enough in myself to, you know, take a step back, evaluate the situation and either move or say, hey, you know what? You look great today. Thank you for working out beside me. And that's okay. So sometimes it's just flipping the narrative on people and kind of reversing that mentality. So I,
of all the people that you've trained in the last 4 years, what's your what's without naming their names or anything, what's your funniest moment from a gym? Has got to be some crazy shit.
Oh, I think it's always fun. I try to always have fun. My funniest moment, gosh, I don't know. We have a lot. There's always laughing. Um, I've worked with one person for a few years, and it's really funny how his brain works and how mine work are completely opposite. So I've learned that um, he responds better to me when I'm not as nice. I'm really positive and really supportive. Like, yeah, but he needs like more like a different side of me than I enjoy. Like, oh, is that how big your shoulders are today? We're not going to keep working on your shoulders. So it's just like each person requires a little bit of a different version of myself to motivate them. So it's really interesting. But there's some people we get to have dance parties because they don't understand rest. So they finish their set and we have to have a 30-second dance party. Otherwise, they won't rest and they'll just keep going into their next set.
Hmm.
But that's what it's about. Is just coming, lifting weights, having fun, and feeling better when you leave. So it's always funny when I'm the one who breaks the mirrors. Like I backed my butt up and broke a mirror with my butt. That was fun. Or I've hit my head on just about everything in the gym. So I'm usually the one that's being a goofball. I like to say if I do it, then somebody else won't. So we got a vibration plate and I did it too high for too long in a plank position. And this is how we learn things is I lead by example. No, I try to have fun every day in there. But
Beautiful. So if there's someone watching this right now and they're on the fence about joining the gym wherever they are in the world, I've got a huge audience in Singapore from some reason. I don't know. I need to get a "I'm huge in Singapore" t-shirt. I don't know. It's where most of my downloads come from for some reason. But
hey, you know what? I like it. You're inspiring people all across the world, and that is something to be celebrated.
so yeah, if anyone's watching this, they're on the fence about joining the gym, what's the one thing you'd say to them just to get out there and go in?
Go and open the door. Just like I told you 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, it's still true today. Just go open the door and see what sparks joy. Um, just go try. The worst thing that happens is you're a little bit sore, but you're a little bit better version of yourself than you were before you went in. So there's an element of um, we are the ones who have the power to make ourselves better. So go and try, see what that looks like. If not for your physical health, do it for your mental health. So 20 minutes of exercise and you get happy endorphins. And it's that simple. So yeah,
Perfect.
just
Um, so I'll put the link to your the gym in the description, anything you want in there. Um, I do have one kind of ridiculous question I always ask at the end of my episodes.
okay.
So if you're okay with that, it's coming your way. Um, 100-meter pigeon carrying contest. You start with however many pigeons you want at the beginning.
Okay.
How many pigeons do you think you could carry 100 meters and have in your arms at the end of the race?
Okay. Now, like situationally, is it life or death? Do the pigeons get hurt if I drop them? I love animals.
No, they do not. I need to make that clear because for all the heavy topics I talk about on here, I don't
Yes.
want to get canceled by PETA. No pigeons would be harmed. There'd be protective mats on the floor so that they just bounce if you drop them. They're fine.
They just fly away. Um, okay, full disclosure, birds terrify me. So I feel like I would not get very far in this with the pigeons, and it would be more of me running in a circle being chased by pigeons. I'd like to think I could handle them all, but I know myself. So probably none, Dave.
Well, you know what's funny? I had Leslie Horton on with me from Global News, the
Yeah,
traffic, and I found out she's terrified of pigeons and Canada geese.
that
So
makes sense.
as soon as I asked her that, she's like, "Nope, nope, not touching it." Next question.
Not gonna run. My one of my favorite stories, one of the favorite things in my life was my brother getting chased by a pigeon when we were like, he's a year younger than me. He would have been like 5. And I was like, see, the pigeons know. The pigeons know to chase that guy. Um, or the geese, sorry, they know. Take him down. But that was one of my there's just something about birds. I don't know. I don't know.
That question came from I was at a hockey game with Bret Hart, and the guy from CJ92 made it happen.
Yeah.
and I got to chat with him. He's like my childhood hero, basically. But I got to chat with him for 3 hours, and I don't know where it came from, but I'm like, listen, I bet I could ask you a question you've never been asked in your 10,000 plus interviews. And I asked Bret Hart this question. I felt so stupid after, but he was just speechless for like 10 seconds. And he's like, well, shit, I don't know, two. And then so then I started this thing and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw that question out because I've had some pretty dark episodes with, sexual abuse and suicide, and just some of them are just at the end, it just kind of throws a little light, hey,
Yeah, we need that.
it's just a
Um,
little icebreaker at the end.
I like it. Well, and if we all need something. I think that's why I feel so passionate about the gym, because it hasn't always been easy, and we might have to do another episode about the other stuff. Um, but I do this to bring people out of whatever I need to. Um, my goal actually is to get a counseling degree and fuse the two, personal training, that one-on-one piece, with counseling. I think they're intrinsically linked. When you are working one-on-one with someone's body, it's vulnerability, and people trust me to not hurt them and work towards their goals. So I think, anything I can do to help one person today, I've had a good day. And it's about, we have to lift up other people, especially if we've lived through things and we've made it to this side. It's important to share how we got to where we are and why we are who we are and how we got here. So, you
I
know,
love it. Maybe if we want to do a second episode, I can get in there and you can kick my ass for an hour and we'll put some footage up in here for people to laugh at.
yeah. And then we can talk about the other stuff that, the harder stuff to talk about, that I think, with, building relationships with people, then you get comfortable and you're able to open up more. And I think it's okay to share, and we should be sharing more, and we shouldn't be ashamed of our past. Not everyone has to like it, but that's why it's our past. We're defined by who we are in this moment, not by who we were. So, you
I
know,
love it. And if there's anything else you want to cover while we're on here, I have no time restrictions on here. We
we'll
can
get
wait
into
for
it. Well,
we
I
can
would
wait
love
for
to
another
do a
one if you
session
want.
with you. Yeah, we'll set up a couple cameras, and film some sessions, and then just have a heart to heart about, because I know your journey has been similar to mine, uh, in a lot of ways, in more than one way. So, yeah,
I love it. Well, I mean, then we get to have a sequel, right? And
that's it. Who doesn't want more of Kendis? Yeah, my husband. He's like, calm it down. No, he's my biggest supporter, which is amazing. But,
all right. Well, I'm gonna be posting this everywhere. Claresholm, Fort McLeod, Stabley. If you want to come check out a badass gym and meet with a badass person, and come check out Real Start Gym. I'll put the link in the description, and stay tuned for our sequel where I get my ass kicked and film it.
yay! Thanks, Dave. I appreciate you, and thanks for being so incredible in our small community. I don't think enough people realize just how important the work you're doing is. So I'm grateful for you today. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on with me.